most strange person ever.
No, you are totally fine. No. So when she was two turning three, it was I was you know how you try not to compare your child to
To
other
everybody
children, of
else's child.
course, you know. But it was just things I was noticing, like, other kids would say, "Mommy, milk," or "Mommy, I want milk," or, and Lily, she would say it and verbalize it, but it would just sound so like baby talk. And so that's why it was kind of like a smoke screen for me because I was like, it's baby talk. She just don't have the words just yet. And people were like, well, because you don't talk to her like that. So she should at least have one or two. And then it was completely like nothing.
Yeah.
She would just point. She would point to what she wanted, or she would point and she would make head gestures like, and like grunts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Um, and so then I was like, okay, all right, maybe it's a little regression going on. Um, and so at that point, her dad and I aren't together.
Okay.
And so her dad kind of pointed it out, and he said, well, maybe we should, maybe take her to get evaluated. And
Let me
that,
stop. That is like a huge. I have not heard anybody, well, other half say that that is different.
it, it
That's
was,
good. That's
it,
good. And
yes,
probably at the time it may not feel good though.
right,
Time how it
right.
feel.
At that time, I was just like, it was fresh, so I was just like, "Well, who are you hearing this from? Why are you bringing this to me now?" And after all the time you spent with her, like, where did you get this from?
Yeah.
Like, is somebody in your ear telling you this? And so I had to do a little self reflection,
Oh
get up,
yeah.
get all of it out. Dig deep. Do what does the Iana say? Do your work.
Yeah.
Do your work. And so I had to do my work. I did, and I said, no, just you need to hone in on what's really going on.
Yeah.
So,
And that's
um,
so hard.
yes, yes, and that was at that point I was like rock bottom with myself and the
Hmm.
decisions that I wanted to make for her, um, because I was the decision maker at that point. So I just said, you know what? Let me see. So even at that point, I still didn't take her to be evaluated, and she was turning 3. What really did it for me was she had I think it was a physical or a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
So I took her in, and the doctor, her pediatrician, said she always has a hard time in doctor's offices. Like, I have to pre-teach, I have to, like, yes, the
Doctor's
whole.
office and parties are just the worst for us. Nobody understands. Okay, go ahead.
They don't. They don't. Like, even my close friends, they're like, "She'll be all right." No,
You have
no,
no idea. Just
don't get it. You don't get
you
it, and
don't.
I
And
don't
my
expect you to.
and that's funny. My best friend, she came over. I love her, and she's a teacher. She's just the best spirited person ever. She's like, yeah, let Daniel come to the car and just help me with this. And I was like, he's 6 and he can do things when he wants to,
Right.
but when he doesn't, I was like, okay, Anna, when he's in his mood, he'll run away. He might do this. Oh, he'll be fine. So I just kind of looked out there and I saw Daniel on the floor and she was looking like, I was like, okay, is he fine? But I love her because everybody doesn't have the patience level to, get with, and that's an important thing. So I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Yes.
it's just
No.
people, even the best intended people, and she's one of them in my life, don't always get it.
Right. Right. They don't. Don't. And I don't fully expect them to either.
Yeah,
I just, when I'm a mom, so I just, like, okay, I got it. I'm just letting you know. So if I give you full reign, just let you know that that's full reign on you, and then I'll be there as your backup at that point. So, but yeah, we went to the doctors, and she had meltdown city, like running out in different
Mm.
patients' rooms.
Yeah. I
And
hear
finally got her back in the room. And I just kind of did the whole,
the
it's going to be all
restraint,
right.
the love
Yeah.
restraint. I
Yes.
call them the love restraint. All
Yes.
right, back and forth.
Just
You
rocking.
okay?
Yes. 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 And at that point, the pediatrician looked and she said, "Well, have you looked into behavior?" And I said, "No, because it's 7:30 in the morning, and she's two, and you're a stranger, and you don't really know." And I'm just, being forthcoming with her. And I think at that point, after leaving the office, I said, "No, no, 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 that was totally incorrect coming at her like that." I needed to be really, honest with where I was with
But it's
that.
so hard when, especially when someone catches you off guard. Like you already are feeling embarrassed,
Right,
having to go into different rooms and deal with other people. Like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then you have someone ask you the most gentle or, genuine question to them, and it can just spark something for you. You just,
right.
I get it. I've not just get it. I've been in your
Yes, yes, yes. And I ultimately just I was defensive. I really was. I was just like, how dare you say that? Like,
right.
this, this is not her element. Of course, it's not any kid's element to be in a doctor's office. None of them like it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes going to
A
the,
typical child will fight in the doctor's office. So
right, right.
you
But
expect for a child with, sensory issues, what are they going to do
right,
in a limited space? So
right. And everybody's poking and prodding and.
exactly. And I already don't want to be touched. Now you got me touching me with strange items. I mean, you coming
Hmm.
at me with weird things. I'm hearing these strange sounds.
And
I think about autism kids like Superman, all those strange sounds. When he first got his power. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. When he first got those powers, all he could, was so much coming at him at one time. So now you're at the
hmm.
doctor's office. I just see him just poking and hearing all this stuff magnified times 10. It'll drive
Yeah.
anybody crazy.
Right, right. And I just left and I was just so like, I called my mom. I'm like, could you believe this woman had the nerve to, and she said, well,
Mhm.
and I kind of sunk and I said, okay, well, I guess I'll reach out. So they got a speech therapist to come into the home because here you can't do pre-K and start school until they're 4.
Okay. What state are
So
you in? I'm sorry, I didn't ask you that at first.
no, you're fine. Nebraska.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in Omaha, and they can't start till they're 4. And at that time, she was 3, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna get a jump start on this,
Yeah.
like, do what I can. And she still wasn't evaluated at that time. She was just, doing speech therapy, and so she would come to the home, and I loved her to death. Liz, she was just so amazing. She came in, she reassured me, and she helped me out tremendously with getting things in order for Lily and just like recognizing different things that
Right.
I didn't take into perspective. And then she moved to Texas on me. And so I was like,
They always move. The best ones always
dude,
move. And
yes,
I like down the street move, like out the state. Like where are you
yes.
going?
Like, why would you do that? Like, we were friends. Like, why would you do that?
I've had that happen a few times.
Yes. And so then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So finally got her into school, and, the whole IEP, special education, that got over that hump. And it was the IEP finalized plan in 2018.
Mm.
And they said, well, we're going to bring in a school psychologist this time. And I said, why? Because she's had plenty and she hasn't had one yet. And they were like, well, there's some things we want to discuss. Just no worries. And I said, well, that's cause for concern.
I
We
don't
need
like
to
when
go
they bring
over.
things on me and tell me. Yeah, I would have said no.
Yeah. I said, okay, sure, let's do it. So they brought her in, and of course, it's, a team of them. And I'm looking like, oh,
Yeah. Don't you hate being at that table of 10? I feel like Jesus. I'm like, what is
yes, I feel like I'm being interrogated. Like, what?
Jesus at the table? Like, there's just too many people. What's going on?
Right, right. So I'm just like, okay, break it to me what you got. And I'm trying to read through the IEP before they even get to it.
Yeah.
And I see this big old A word. And I'm like, there it is. It's been thrown at me this whole time. And I just kind of just been skirting it. And they first had me wrong, though, because they said, does she have a wandering eye? And I said, no. And they said, no, I'm pretty sure she does. And I said, I'm pretty sure she doesn't because she's my child. So, no.
Right. Once you say it, they should let it back up. See, this is my thing. I was a teacher. I've sat on both sides of the table,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm no longer a teacher because I can't sit on that side of the table anymore. But I can't. It's just too much politics behind education. I can't. That's my personal opinion.
That's
Um,
tough.
it is tough. But being on both sides of the table is never easy, and I will never forget having to sit on the other side of the table and listen as a parent, you
Yeah.
know, was in denial, and I would never. I said I'm never gonna be that parent, and doggone it, if not a year or two later, I was that parent.
You were that
You
parent.
can't never say education. Well, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to your child. Whatever you feel as a parent, you're your child's first advocate. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, everything I know as a teacher went out the window for me at 6 months.
Mm.
They told me it was a daycare. I didn't get the luxury of getting that far. They
Mm.
told me it was a nice daycare here, and they told me at 6 months that your baby has sensory issues.
Mm. Sensory issues.
Sensory issues. I already knew that was the code word for that's what autism is. Autism
Yeah.
is nothing but sensory issues.
Right.
How dare you label my child? I mean, I went off. I went black girl magic off. Girl, you're not gonna tell me
Yeah.
there's something wrong with my baby.
Right.
Then they came out with the nice photos and the videos of him having issues and real sensory meltdowns at 6 months.
Oh, they did it like that?
I didn't like that girl.
Oh.
The point that I just had to be like, oh, okay. So what do I do now? What can do? Like, so what do I do now?
You just kind of shrink like, oh, okay.
I mean, when you get the black girl magic, okay, that's just that's the air out the balloon. Just
Right.
so I get it. I didn't. I wish I almost have gotten to that luxury of getting to that point, but at 6 months, my son.
Yeah. Yeah. It puts you in a different place for a minute. And
Totally.
like you said, we have our best friends, our close friends, family support, but it's a different level when they can't they
No.
don't understand, and you don't really truly expect them to understand because they're not in that position, but it's still hard. It's still difficult to navigate through that, kind of by yourself, really, because what do you do? What do
Yeah.
you tell them? And yeah, that it was tough. It was tough for me because I was just like, okay, so what do I do? What do I do? And they were like, well, we'll keep up with the speech and the occupational therapy and everything with the schools and stuff like that. And we'll increase here and decrease here as needed, the same old things that she was doing in school. And I said, so how is this, going to affect her academically? And they're like, well, she's in preschool. And I said, I understand that, but in the future, I'm thinking ahead, like.
That's how we see our queens and prince, kings. We don't see our babies like other people on the other side of the hand might see them because
Right.
we know the stereotypical things that are going on, and we don't. I'm sorry. I get it.
No.
You already my twin, so I'm in your head. I'm sorry. I didn't stop.
No, you are so right. I could just see this box And
Mm.
nope, she can't do that because she's autistic. Nope, she can't do that because she's autistic. She can do this, but we're gonna put her here because she's autistic. Like, I did not want that to happen to her, so I was already like, okay, let me figure out what I need to do at home,
Yeah.
but what are y'all gonna do while she's here in your care? And so it was really good that I had her speech therapist.
I was just getting ready to ask you what advocates you had for you at that
Yes,
time.
her speech therapist just really took to her,
Okay.
and we're still in contact to this day. Like, she came to her little drive-by graduation, like
Oh,
from pre-K. Like, she is all in. She will go to bat for Miss Lily because she's just, that's her people. That's my people right
and so
there.
you gotta have them in your
Yeah.
life.
Yes, yes. And she gives me the ins and outs of everything. And she was very transparent and was like, well, we're going to increase here, but I'm going to tell you this. You want her in this class, and you want to tell them this the next
Mm.
IEP. And I'm going to tell you, you need to do this for this. And this was like her second year in grad school. So she ain't even like almost
Wow.
there yet. So I saw something in her when she was doing that for me, and I said, I got to stick to this young lady. And then she said she was trying to leave, and I said, you better not leave me. You do not leave me in Hop School District. And she said, I will not leave. I will
Oh,
not leave unless Lily leaves
okay.
and goes to a different school district. So I thought about moving her last year to a different school district, and she was on the phone. You will not move my baby unless I tell you to move my baby.
Hello.
So yes, she is the one, that is there for us at the school. But I still didn't know outside of the school realm, like, what do I do? And so I said, well, let me go get her evaluated medically, as far as on the medical side of things.
Yeah.
Um, and so I did that at an agency here, and it's well known locally for doing the evaluations, testing. I think they even have like a child care
Oh, okay.
center there, and it's great. I just feel like they do it so much that it's
Mm.
not personalized.
Personalized. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a great evaluation. I saw what pretty much she saw, and I already knew, of course, going into it. I just needed that extra, like, okay, yeah,
The exit. Yeah. Information.
right. Like, you can't
I mean,
say otherwise,
it was to the point for me. Daniel was sitting up there lining stuff up in the doctor's office. I'm just like, yeah, this man don't have any choice but to say, what is it?
Yeah,
He don't
yeah,
have a choice. He done line
yeah.
all. I mean, just straight line all the way around all the toys. Took them all out. The whole thing is they're watching them into their engagement level. This man
Right.
had them perfectly lined up all over.
He was about his business.
He
That's
was about his
all.
business.
Yes, yes. Lily's is Barbie dolls.
Oh, that's
She
cute.
does, and then she stems. So hers is hand flapping. So she
Okay.
does. She's been doing that since about 2 is when it started, but she still does it now.
Does the
With the
flapping start initially, or does it come? Or I know some flapping comes some down. Does she do it? Does she elevate herself, or does it help her calm down to flap?
It helps her. I think it helps her calm down
Okay.
for the most part, because she can get going, as you can see. She will pop in a hot second, like, "Hey, who are you?" Um, but when she's I could tell when she's worked up about something, or if she's overthinking, or
Yeah.
if she's overwhelmed about anything, she will stem, and she'll
Yeah.
be going, you know, all night long. She'll stem, and I had to get out of the habit of saying stop jumping, and even now I find myself saying that sometimes, and I
We're
have to tell
parents.
myself
We are parents. Don't apologize for that. That's what our mama taught us. That's what your
like,
mama taught you. Stop moving. Sit down.
right, jump into my house, God. But she does it, and I just allow her. Most times, no, she's not hurting herself. She's
That's
fine. I just,
it.
It
And
is what it
that's
is.
another one of those areas that people don't understand. Like, why are you letting them do that? And why are you doing this? And
Hmm.
again, like you said before, with your advocate, I'm blessed for all the advocacy that I have in St. Louis, Missouri. And that's that's one of the reasons why I wanted to connect with you to this. The resources that I feel like we have, as far as Black people are limited. Like we don't really get all that.
Yes.
And one of the biggest things that I just probably in the last few months I was able to get for Daniel was a trampoline.
Ooh,
I know, girl.
nice.
I want every parent in St. Louis, all over the world, to get the funding that was blessed with that I was blessed with, so that
Yes.
child can have a trampoline. And it's a nice one. It's a fence, the nice one.
Oh, the yeah, with
Yes.
the I guess what is it? The little not fence, but yeah,
It's
I know
kind of
what you're
like
talking about.
it's the protective barrier because
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah,
Like I know he's gonna fall out and bust his head. I see teeth coming out, and
yeah.
I had two advocates help me. Well, I had one advocate help me pick it out, and the other advocate, who got this? It's our regional office. We struggled together to get this, but I don't know if you know about the regional office. That's where, do you all have a regional office there? Like
Yeah.
case management. Normally they help with different things. If you qualify for different, I guess, what am I trying to say? Qualify for different funding areas. Some of it is like through Social Security, and then you have the other funding that you can also tap into this from the government. And
Yes.
that's what that is. It's called, for us, it's called EMAP, and they will reimburse you and different things for therapeutic items, which that is one of a big therapeutic item. But I just
Yeah.
thought about what you said as far as hand flapping. I said if I can help you find that in Nebraska, I would love to, because I know that would help her.
Oh, yeah.
So, right. I'm
Yes.
big on finding resources. That's my thing. So,
Yes. Yes.
sorry, I
And
didn't mean to take you away from this. So I'm just like that could be something that might help you as well. It's like that.
yeah.
The trampoline. I can say go downstairs and get your trampoline because you're on my bed
Yes.
and you're not driving mommy crazy.
Whew. That's a lifesaver. Really, really. No. That really all of that was part of the journey, and I started taking some parenting classes at this learning community center. I just started taking them just because, I wanted to just like feel a little bit closer to her, and just even though I don't really know what she goes through on a day-to-day
Sure.
basis, I just want to be closer to my daughter. So I was just like, how do I bridge that gap? Let me just take, classes here and there. It's classes where we can be together, and classes where, there's childcare there and I go into a separate room and whatnot. And I just started
Mm.
noticing like different, more and more things when we went to this parenting class. And I took a class with a therapist facilitating, right? And she's awesome. She saw me one day, and I had just, have you seen the Disney short story film Float?
I want to say I have for some reason.
It's the one where the little kid is floating, trying to get dandelions or something, and his it's about autism.
I'm almost sure I
Autistic.
have. If it's about autism, I'm almost sure I have.
Yeah. Oh, that first time I watched it, somebody brought it to my attention, and I was crying for like a whole week because
Oh,
the dad in the short film was how I was feeling
feeling.
from the very moment I knew she had it
Mm.
or she was autistic. So I we were in the class, and it would just seem like everything we were talking about during that class was like I was like on an island by myself because all these other parents could talk about their children and what they do and da da da, and I was just like, okay, well, what about me? Like, I'm not in that category at
Yeah.
all, you know. And so I pulled her to the side and I said, do you know of anything in regards to children who are autistic? And she said, see, I know Miss Lily, and I've gotten a chance to meet her in childcare. And she said her friend is a therapist. And
Hmm.
she said, I hope you don't mind, but I've been wanting to reach out to you, and I wanted to tell you for the longest time that you are probably in the stage where you're mourning those expectations that you had for your child. And oh, why the waterworks just
The
I
morning.
was crying
I
for
was
2 more weeks
just
after that.
talking to a good friend yesterday about the grieving process that we go through that people don't even get. We go, I think at least, I want to say, and I'm not an expert, obviously, but at least 8 out of 10 of us go through depression.
Mhm.
At
Mhm.
least, you know.
Mhm.
I know I did for sure during that same point. Right before Daniel, we had a really rough time in life. It was a really rough time. We wasn't expecting Daniel income wise. We kind of lost everything. I lost my job. I lost everything.
Wow.
Yeah, literally everything. So I already was going through a depression, and then having him, and then 7 months later, I was like, okay, I had this beautiful baby. Okay, everything's gonna be great. He's gonna be this lawyer, the doctor that I always wanted. He's gonna be this football player.
Right.
And then 6 months later, you're telling me he has sensory issues. My firstborn king, you're telling me he has sensory issues.
Mhm.
That was a grieving process.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's a whole process.
whole process. Entire.
Yes, yes. And you don't really know how to navigate that at first. Like, and I have you can have whatever background you have, and you still not know.
All
You know
right.
what I mean? And so she was like, I just wanted to bring that to you. I did not mean to make you feel any type of way. I said, no, that's just what I needed though, because nobody understands that. They don't understand that it is mourning.
Yeah.
You know, I have so many expectations like that. Like I want her to do this. I want her to do that. And this is my first child, my only child. This is where she's gonna be at. And then you telling me what? You know, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, and then everybody's giving you expectations for your child. And that hurts, like, oh no, she can only do that. What? This is my
The
baby.
limitations, the limitations.
Right.
And
Right.
to be honest, it was just this year that actually probably end of last year, but I stopped putting so many limitations on Daniel, because I'm realizing he hears everything that I say. He understands whether he communicates like like a typical child. To me, is probably is a little higher than most because it's just me seeing different kids working with different children.
Mhm.
His comprehension level is way higher than I would see a normal typical child. But as
Mhm.
far as how he reacts or responds is on the spectrum, so that's going to look different. So I'm
Right.
still learning those avenues and just how that looks with him. And
Mhm.
even a few months ago, it's funny the story. I'm sorry.
No,
Um,
I want to hear your experience. I want this. You don't know how long I've been waiting for this.
but yeah, I mean, so I had an autism event. So I want to tell you about this one first. We had an autism event, and I took him to it was a I want to say the Autism Speaks event. We have a nice, beautiful park, Forest Park in St. Louis, Missouri, one of the prettiest parks here.
Mhm.
So we are like, okay, we're gonna go here. We're gonna support Autism Speaks, and so we got out the car, and we're already on CP time. So we get out of the car and get ready to go. And so on one side of the area um, is the park area. The other side is the Autism Speaks area.
Mhm.
Daniel refused to go to the other side. I said, well, you know what? That's okay. This is Autism Speaks Day. This is your day, baby. You go to the park. We're going to go to the park. We're going to have fun. We were at the park probably a little over an hour. I'm like, okay, it's time to go. It's hot. It's nice at first. It's time to go. Me and my husband at the time. Well, sorry, me and my husband at this time. We didn't realize that you need to inform way ahead of time that you are getting ready to move somewhere.
Mm.
We learned that day
Mm.
very quickly. to the point that we were like, okay, Daniel, it's time to go. And we're used to the eloping. So
Yes.
he's running all over this huge park, and we're both big boned people. At this time, I'm losing weight. I'm losing a good weight now. But at that
Hey.
time, hey, because I like to, girl, this is snacks right here. This is snacks.
I hear you.
But I eat healthy and everything now. But at the time, I was a little bigger and I was way out of, more out of shape. So
Mhm.
we're trying to run around to get this. At the time, it was just 5-year-old little boy running around, just, I mean, quickly. So at this time, he's at the park. He's just running around the park. So he gets really upset. So at first, it was just a game, him running away from his eye and don't want to go. He's not want to leave. Then he runs out of the park. Now, this is when it gets scary because we have cars, you have more traffic, you have people coming through, strangers, and he's running through all that.
Ooh.
So we're trying to get him and put him. And the crazy thing is, me and my husband, I'm a plus size woman. I'm pretty strong. I've restrained kids all the way from kindergarten to eighth grade.
Mhm.
And my own son, we could not restrain.
Mm.
That's how strong he is. That's how strong he was that day. That we couldn't even restrain him. So he's moving. And I don't know if you watch Family Guy. It's a little comic we always joke with, a little section, Deft Up Grease Guy, because he would just
Yeah.
run through. He would just run through. Nobody can catch him. Nothing.
No.
That is all I can think about. Deft Up Grease Guy is running through. And
Yes.
my son.
Yes.
And he's so strong we can't do anything.
No, I'm
So
listening.
we finally got Daniel settled because you have to wait until they settle themselves first of all. But it was
Mhm.
nothing. He was just so internally geeked up and all the sensory things going on around. It was nothing. So we're finally got him settled down. I'm sitting on the ground at this point on the sidewalk, waiting on my husband to bring the car around because we're just like, okay, we just get him in the car and throw him in there. That's how we're gonna get him home. That's all we can
Mhm.
think. We're gonna throw him in the car and get him home. So I'm waiting on him to do that. Here comes this guy just running, coming through, just walking by. Most people didn't say anything. Most people are doing this number here.
Yeah. Trying not to see it.
Even a black woman saw me running through, and I'm out of breath, and she was just like, I will never forget
Look.
that face. She really was just like, oh my
Look.
God, I would never treat anybody like this in my life.
Right.
But even worse than that was this guy walking through when I finally got him settled down on the sidewalk. Oh, that looks interesting. Girl, if I wasn't holding on to him, I would have held on to my fist and going into his face. I said, God is a good God, because that could have easily been the day that I went up to.
Very merciful too, though.
but
Jesus. Ooh.
but yeah, but that was just one event. We finally got him in the car. He's still running around, and I was just fed up at that point because I was trying to be calm. I was trying to do all these ABA things. That I finally looked at Daniel. I grabbed his face. This is a little bear. I grabbed his face. I said, "Autism doesn't give you the right to act like an asshole. Get in the car."
There we go.
Upset. I was, oh my goodness, I'm upset.
Mm.
He got in the car. He calmed down, and he put his seatbelt on.
Boom.
That was the day I
Wow.
realized if I don't talk to my son like a person, he's never going to act like one.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's it.
And he still has meltdowns, but I can talk to him through it. What's wrong, baby? What hurts? Show mommy what hurts. Touch it. Touch whatever hurts. So I massage whatever hurts. But, from that moment to now, that's only been less than a year. But that
Mhm.
little bit, that little tidbit that God showed me through that crazy moment, that was a crazy 30-minute period. We sweating and just going. I said, yep, things got to change, and I have to change. Not you. God don't want you to change. He made you who you are.
Right.
I got to change.
Mhm. Mhm. He made you for me, so that I can change. Look. For real. That's
it,
how it is, though.
it is. And I mean, I just, I talk to him. I have to
Yeah.
talk to him through everything because he listens. He
Yeah.
listens. He grasps what I'm saying, and in ways that I would have never imagined. Does she ever do Lily do anything that you just never would have imagined that they told you that she would never be able to do?
Yeah. Tons of
Oh,
things.
you freezing up?
Comprehension. Am I freezing?
Yeah. You came
Mm,
back. You came back.
okay. Let me. I think something's going on with my.
Oh, I just realized
Mm.
what time. How long do we have to talk? Because I know, look, we all tend to moms. We don't get long.
we look. I think are these. I don't know. I don't know if they usually go for about an hour
Oh, mine is. That's not a problem for me. That
or yours. Oh. Well, I'm good. I'm
okay.
good for as long as we got. Look, I'm good. I'm good. But ma'am, you gotta get out those eggs.
Oh
They're
Lord.
all gone for a reason. Yeah. I'll be with you in just a second. Can you go ask TT? Yeah, go ask TT for a snack real quick. She's downstairs. Thanks.
Does she like
Yep.
cracking eggs? Does she like cracking the eggs or just?
um, she's like the feel of them. She like,
Yep.
I'm like, yep. We're gonna set that right there so you don't get into my fresh ones. But
Daniel will crack all my eggs. He likes baking with me. He is such a great baker.
really,
He likes the sound of the mixture. Just I used to think it scared him, but he loves it. But it just that's when he'll start. Like, okay,
hmm,
okay,
yes,
yeah, and jumping around and knocking stuff off in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, we just made
right,
this. You just knocked it all over. Then we got to make it again.
right, right, exactly. No, she as far as um comprehending and being social and things like that, um, they pretty much put her in the box and was like, well, her speech is not where it needs to be. So, although she can verbalize and demand things, she's probably not going to be able to fully communicate. So, mom, you're probably going to have to kind of get her to that point. 4 years old. Mom, calm down, relax. What? She
Well,
doing what?
out of the mouths of babes. There you go.
Yes, yes. Relax, calm down, breathe in your flower. She does
Ooh,
yoga, all types of stuff. She's talking more and more in sentences, and she's just flourishing so much that I just was like, now y'all done told me, you know, remember this little girl, and it's
yeah,
it's so it's so awesome to see her just push past all the limits that they place at such a young age because even the pediatrician, we just had her kindergarten physical, even the pediatrician, she said, oh my gosh, even her speech last year is just,
it's
it's just
flourishing.
advanced, you know. She said you could tell she still has some limitations, and I said, but not a lot. You
Yeah.
just noticed it. And I said, she said, I am so proud of you, mom. And I said, well, I'm proud of myself.
And there's nothing wrong with us saying that because I feel like you have to be the one to, acknowledge, okay, my baby has come this far. Because no, somebody else, like she said, oh, I still see these limitations, but for you, you see growth. And I
Right,
feel like that's a celebration point. When you see that
right,
growth, and for me, I talked to someone else the other day about Daniel, and just as far as for me, he lost words early in different things after a real bad fever.
hmm,
And I don't know where the fever came from. I don't, but he lost words, and from that on, that's what it was. And then, you hear people say, well, he might not ever talk, he might not ever do this, and I can accept any of it, but I'm going to push for him to be able to talk. Um,
right,
and if he doesn't, if he's not, then I have to accept it. I'm learning how to accept. But just this
right,
year, he's starting to talk and voice and hearing, and this just to hear that, and you may hear kids say, "Well, he talks strange or he does this," but baby,
Yes.
he's talking. He comes to that door and tells me popcorn. I don't care who I'm talking to. It can be a Michelle Obama. I'm leaving. Girl, I love you. Look good. I love your hair. Bye. It's
Right.
when he
Right.
talks, I listen. So it's just it's to that point. I get it because it's just when they have something special. Oh, you froze on me again. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you. You froze.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
I was like, maybe if I move. Okay. Babe, you don't get this day. This is me. No, you don't get it.
Right. Right.
But no, I mean just having those celebration moments are huge, and people, like you said, don't get it unless you have
Right.
walked in those steps and you hear people limit your child. But they won't ever be able to do this because they're autistic. Daniel may have issues. That the biggest thing is he'll never be social. He'll never be that type of child that shows you affection. In the morning, my first kiss is not from my husband; it's from my son.
Mhm. Exactly.
My
So
first
they
hug,
understand.
very much so, very much so. And
Right.
I just, it's just different things that you have to be able to connect with and connect
Right.
them and connect yourself to. So
Mhm.
it's not just. But I'm sorry, I know we don't have much more time. I don't want to take up more time because I
No,
talk to you literally all day.
I could too. I just like I said, I've been waiting for so long to have this like embracing, welcoming conversation because I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't have a lot of folks here that understand, and the people that do are usually people that are providing the service to
Yeah.
me, you know. And so that was the major reason why I started the Unbound Connect was I know there's people out there, like I know there's other parents, I know there's other mothers, I know there's people out there like me. And I just want to bring us together so that we can be more powerful,
Tell me more about the services that you offer with that.
Yeah, yeah. I I decided to start it in I started in April, and I said I want to bring on experts and professionals, but not only people in these realms, but parents, because
Right.
we are the best advocates for our kids, and we are our
I'm
child's.
listening. I'm getting ready to close the windows because I have some strange lighting going on. Give me just a
You
second.
good, you good.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
So I reached out to my mom and I said, I want to do something to bring this to the forefront so that my community is, you know, to take advantage of this because I know there's more parents out there like me and I want to reach these parents, and I want to have some sort of, relationship with my community like that.
Right.
And so she was like, well, one of the therapists at the office that my foster brother goes to, um, she said she's a black therapist and she actually did autism in the face of black a few years ago.
Mm,
And I said, why did I never hear about this? Like things like this just don't. They're
they're
not
not
promoted.
public. That's
Yeah,
why God put us here, girl. That's
yeah,
why God put us here.
yes, yes. And I'm like, and then as soon as it was so crazy because as soon as I started it, all of these things just start popping up. Well, I do this. Well, her daughter's autistic. Well, her son is autistic, and I'm
Right.
like, where did all these wonderful people come from? Where?
Where were you when I
Where
was
were
going
y'all
through this
at?
journey and I was crying and I needed somebody?
Man, like I needed y'all. And so I said, well, now I really got to do it because there's nothing else out there that Lily, I need you to get down, please. Okay, I'll get it for you. Here, get what was right here. Huh? What was right here? I'm gonna pause for just a second
You're
because
fine.
she
And I
done
can
got the
pause
mic.
if you need me to as well.
You trying to get